I mean, how does envisaging different scenarios or outcomes build leadership capacity?
Great question. I think it's a really useful thing to do to the degree that your psychology can handle it. So one of the things I notice with this is people will sometimes go down the rabbit hole with scenarios and get worked up over the possibilities of disaster and catastrophe as well as success, and that's not necessarily useful. So I think there's one of the limiting factors is what's the mindset I'm engaging it with. I reckon the mindset's got to be a light one. So imagine that anything almost could happen, but then don't hold on to those outcomes too hard. The problem comes, as Michael said, when we try to predict rather than just envisage what might be possible. Predictions are something that humans love. We saw this massively at the start of COVID where people were predicting when it would all be over by, and some of those early predictions turned out to be way off the mark. But we love to try and get a sense of certainty by going, here's what's going to happen. And the reality is, no matter how good we are, we can't predict in that kind of way. So thinking through possibility, what could happen to us, how could it unfold, absolutely worst case scenario, a couple of really harebrained random scramblers. What all that's about is how do we maintain some sort of mental flexibility so that whatever happens to us, we're not caught off guard or caught by surprise. And I think you mentioned military before. I do a lot of work with emergency services organisations who do this stuff really, really well. They'll drill for scenarios. We did one in Port Hedland, a northwest town in Western Australia last year, where we were forecasting a Category 5 cyclone hit precisely at high tide, which has never happened, but it absolutely could. It's an extreme scenario, but not beyond the bounds of possibility. And what that does is it just gets everyone thinking about, okay, what would that look like? How would we respond? What are the important levers that we could pull? What are the critical pieces that we need to get up and running? Who can rely on who for what in those sorts of circumstances? And then plan from that kind of thing right through to what's the best case. And then my old man, who was a very successful farmer, used to always say, and then in the middle, you just got to accept whatever happens.